we can listen to things and read all the books. And we have these amazing things called libraries and YouTube, university, and podcasts. When you stumble on great podcasts like LandLife, make sure you take action. Like you hear a good tip and it's inspiring you, just take action immediately. You can always pause this thing and come back to it and listen to it for references. You could do a deal from exactly what I just talked about today.
Welcome to the LandLife Podcast with your host, PJ Riley.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to LandLife Podcast. My name is PJ Riley. Guys, at the end of this podcast, our guest here, Brent's going to tell you where you can connect with him, like how you can get hold of Brent if what he says resonates with you and it's exciting and you want to maybe take step two. He's going to give you that information. Make sure you stay to the end of the podcast, get that information and contact Brent. He's got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Guys, if you're liking the podcast, like, subscribe, leave 5 stars on iTunes and Spotify. I keep forgetting to say that, but 5 stars and a comment is always super duper helpful. All right, guys, today we got another land guy on here. We got another land guy. We got the land shark this time, though. Like, he's way more intimidating than the rest of the land guys. The land shark, Brent Bowers. How you doing, man?
PJ, so good. Great to be on LandLife. And yeah, man, 5 stars. We're going to get some 5-star reviews and ratings today. So support this podcast.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah. I appreciate you coming on too. Brent's a super busy guy. He's got you got a YouTube channel, a podcast, you run a coaching business, you buy and sell land all over the country. How did you get started doing all this stuff?
None of it is on my shoulders. I'm kind of like just almost, I don't want to say the puppet master because that sounds really bad because like I'm pulling strings, but I have a great team, people that support me and help me with all this stuff. Why did I get started? How did I get started? I was running away from a problem. I find that there's 2 types of motivators for most people. It's, going towards pleasure or away from pain. My motivation is away from pain. You can really get me excited to get away from pain. And my pain was I was working so much in the military. I was a slave to the military. I was told where to be every day, what to wear. I had to shave every day, cut my hair sometimes twice a week. Always gone, working a minimum 12, 13-hour days. And it really hit me when my first son was born. And fast forward to a year and a half of his life, I only really got to hang out with him for about 4 out of 18 months. Mm-hmm. So that is not how, God bless the troops out there that stay away from their families for 20 years like that. But that's not how I envisioned a family. And I had already been through 1 divorce. And it was on my 2nd deployment to Afghanistan. And the Army pulled me out of Afghanistan on my 2nd deployment, sent me to college. I met the woman of my dreams, my current wife now, Emily. We got married. We had kids right away. And history was repeating itself. I was always away, always training, always deployed, always gone. And some people might be resonating with that. If you have a W-2 job, there's nothing wrong with your W-2 job, but I wanted to work harder on my side hustle, harder on my business so I could have something that would support me and my family and eventually others one day. And the military just wasn't going to do that for me. And I couldn't do that. And I couldn't stand to do that any longer, to not see my wife and my kids every night and every morning. So that's how I got started. I didn't have a choice. And my route was land.
All right. So land, did you just go out there one day and you're like, okay, I want to buy that square of dirt next door, give us the nuts and bolts of like how it started. Like what led you to land? Land's not like, it's not a normal thing. It's not like most, people don't wake up one day and say, I really want to buy and sell land to people online. That sounds like a great business. Like what brought you to that world?
Yeah, I'll tell you. We all drive by land every single day of the week sometimes, and we don't even look twice at it because, there's no HGTV channel about it. There's nothing sexy about it. They're not saying, hey, go knock on this door and buy this house and renovate it and fix it and flip it or rent it out. there's nothing that we see that we can make money on that land. And I was currently wholesaling houses at this time. I was with Wholesaling Inc. My coach was Tom Kroll. It was a great system, phenomenal system, but I was spending a fortune going into debt using my credit card to mail homeowners in a very in demand city of Colorado Springs while I was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado. And I was having somewhat of success with the houses. And what I mean by wholesaling, I would get it under contract at a discount and sell that contract really quickly to a cash buyer for like $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000. But here was a problem. I was spending almost $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 per contract. So I was really just spinning my wheels and working my tail off. I heard a guy on a podcast early 2016 because I was searching for answers, just like the LandLife podcast. I was searching for answers of how I can build a financial fortress around me and my family so I can eventually get out of the military. How can I replace my expenses? How can I replace my income to be financially free? I was still building this, even though I had a coach. I was searching for answers, and I heard about a guy just flipping land pretty much overnight and doubling his money. And I had been avoiding the land because I didn't know how to make money with it. So I heard about this guy buying land at crazy discounts. He was flipping it overnight. I was like, well, geez, why am I avoiding the land? So I mailed the tax delinquent list, people that are not paying their back taxes on their properties. I mailed the entire tax delinquent list, a simple postcard that said, hey, my name's Brent. I'd like to buy your land at 123 Main Street, if it even had an address. And a lot of times it didn't. Sometimes I would just say on Barbella Street. Sent it to the mail house. I sent 687 of those postcards, and my phone rang off the hook. Never, like I had seen, like never before had it done that on houses. Like I can mail 5,000 letters and maybe get 5 phone calls. I mailed 687 land letters, postcards, basically, and I got almost 20 phone calls. So I was like, okay, there's something to this. And that first call, I pretty much did a deal. Bought it for $285 and sold it for $5,000 to a realtor.
That's insane. So were you handwriting these postcards?
They looked handwritten, and I'd be more than happy to share it with your audience, the exact postcard that I used. But I was getting them from 3D mail. They look handwritten, but no, I wasn't handwriting them.
Yeah, when I first started the land business, I was handwriting postcards. And after about 15 to 20 of these things, your hand is useless because you're trying to write the same script over and over and over and over, basically. My name is, PJ Riley. I like to buy your land, yada, yada. And I realized they were really bad when one guy responded. I mean, I was getting tons of offers. Don't get me wrong. But I got this guy and he goes, he calls me and he says, hey, I'm responding to your childlike offer or your childlike postcard. That's what he said. I guess my handwriting must be pretty bad or something, but it works. It works, right? I mean, the handwritten postcards really work. So you get these properties now, and how are you selling them though? Like, other than the realtor that bought the first one, how are you selling these things? Is it you have some place you're going?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you how I sold that first one to the realtor was I had no clue what it was worth. I was not taking $285 of my hard-earned money that should be going towards rent and diapers and baby food and sticking it into a piece of land like that wasn't buildable. Like I was not doing that. Like even my wife and me and the newborn baby and one of my Army officer friends even rode out to look at the land because I was like, I need help. I'm bringing everybody with me because I didn't know how to comp this stuff. Like I didn't know how to find comparables. But what I did know was there was a real estate office right down the street. So I was like, they will know. So I called them and I was like, hey, I just want to know what I could list this land for on Lake Avenue in Palmer Lake, Colorado. She's like, oh, I'm very familiar with that area. She told me like $10,000. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I mean, the blowout price. I want the get it done now price. I don't want this land sitting on the MLS for 795 days.
Yeah.
So she's like, no, probably about 10,000. That's your blowout price. You can get it done probably in about 30 days. I was like, okay. So I thanked her for her time. I said, I'll call you when I own it. And she called me back in like 5 minutes and asked to make an offer. I was like, please do. She said, I'll offer you 5,000. I'll buy it from you next week on Wednesday. I was like, okay, send me the contract. So she sent me the contract. I called the seller. I said, hey, can I pay you on Tuesday? Quit claim deed, which I no longer buy on quit claim deeds.
Yeah.
But I brought that quit claim deed to the title company, land title company, on Tuesday night and got my $5,000 check on Wednesday. And then you asked how I sell these. The next one, I already had someone lined up for $500. I was buying the next one for $500 from this 89-year-old sweet lady. Her husband was a stockbroker, and he just picked up random investments. Another non-buildable, non-accessible piece of land, really close to NORAD, sort of they track Santa Claus in Colorado. Well, that one, I had no clue what it was worth, but I knew it was worth big money. So I put it on Craigslist. I was like, I want to sell this thing. I want my $500 back really quickly. So I put it for $500 down and $400 a month. Sold it on Sunday. Listed it on Saturday, sold it on Sunday. So Craigslist, realtors, my dad, I got him in the land game. He sells most of his stuff on Facebook Marketplace and buy-sell groups, which, by the way, I'm locked out of Facebook Marketplace right now and buy-sell groups. One of my VAs broke some terms and regulations. Second time this has happened, but there's a cool guy on Fiverr that you pay him $50, he'll get you out of Facebook jail. So he's working on it right now.
That's good to know. That's a tip right there, man. If you're a land investor, that is a tip. You need to meet that guy.
Yeah, I could pull up his information, but you go on Fiverr, just search unlock my Facebook account. It takes him sometimes a couple days. He needs your login and all that, but you can look at his reviews. He's got tons of reviews and he's fixed a lot of people's accounts. So Zillow, if you got an address, put that thing on Zillow. I sell the most of my land with signs though. I buy land on the sides of highways, and I like to put signs out, at like main intersections and stop signs, 38 acres, will finance, phone number. I love financing the land because that gets me payments. Sometimes I make more money in interest than I do on the actual sales price of the land.
Oh,
that's because I put it for 30-year mortgages, just like the banks. I mean, the banks there's a reason why they're the biggest buildings in every city in every state, right? Because they know something about money. It's compounding interest. So those are my best places to sell it. And obviously we have a website that we drive a lot of traffic to. We get everyone there. And then we eventually, how do I say it? We pixel them and we retarget them. So once, like, PJ, you're interested in a piece of land, you go to my website and now you're going to see my land ads on Facebook and Instagram until you're ready to buy. I'm gonna just keep popping up. Hey, here's this little blonde guy with a red beard talking about land again. Honey, we really need to buy that land in Colorado. Let's see what it's got on his site. And they buy 6 months later.
So how do you do that? How do you keep retargeting somebody on Facebook? That's interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. Go to fiverr.com or upwork.com and search retargeting ads and hire someone and pay them $4 an hour to set it up for you. I have no clue how to do it.
These are the tips right here, guys. This is the stuff. All right. Now you were in Colorado. You're not in Colorado anymore. So are you still buying in Colorado?
Still have a lot of land in Colorado. Still have a lot of rental properties in Colorado. However, we're now in Florida, closer to family. So
so beautiful state of Florida. Both are great places. They both have their selling points. You got the mountains in Colorado, especially where you guys were out in the Springs. That's like super nice out there.
Yeah, really miss it.
I drove through there last weekend going to Cotopaxi, Colorado.
Oh man, you got some land in Cotopaxi.
I have one and I've never seen it. So I was like, I'll just go check it out. I think I got a squatter out there. Yeah. So I drove out there. There was a squatter. If he got out of the RV, or if he was still in the RV, he's not coming out. He was not moving anywhere. There was I think there was a lion's place there. There was a lot of bones, right? I get up to the top of this 5-acre property and it's walkable. It's beautiful land, right? And there's this stack of bones, like looks like where a lion may have eaten something and kind of left it there.
Yeah.
So luckily I was carrying, but I was like, this could be bad, but beautiful area.
Yeah, it is. It's a really great area. I bought quite a bit of land when I first started out. I had found a land seller that was kind of unloading. He was going into another business, and most of these properties he had already sold and made his money back on. So he sold his inventory, his portfolio to me, and he still sells me land still to this day, when someone defaults on their payments, and that's kind of the ugly part about letting people sell their financing. Like they'll pay, you're already profitable on this land, and sometimes they'll just let it go back to you. But long story short, I bought many of them in Walsenburg, Cotopaxi, and I got a little confident. I got a little cocky, and that's probably the worst thing you can do in business. Yeah. So this house came up for sale out there. I bought that too. I've been trying to renovate this house now for almost a year. I've been shut down by the city. Just all kinds of stupid little things. Multiple contractors want down payments and they don't do the work. I told my team, I said, list it on Wednesday, like tomorrow. I don't care. Give it away.
And where is that? That's in Colorado then?
That's in Walsenburg, Colorado, really close to Cotopaxi. I love the land out there. I'll never buy another house out there.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Definitely a rural area if you're not familiar with. It's like southern Colorado, south of Pueblo, south and west, I guess, is that whole general area. But beautiful area. The land's amazing. Everything's awesome.
Oh yeah.
You got the Royal Gorge out there, all kinds of cool stuff. But not a place where people are moving to anytime soon. So
not on the path of progress, that's for sure.
So how are you doing this then? You don't live in Colorado. That's not possible. If you don't live local, you can't do real estate. At least that's what I hear on, a bunch of YouTube channels. So how are you doing it?
My team is still local there. I still have Chrissy in Colorado Springs. I have Orlando, my land sales specialist in Denver. He just turned 21 yesterday. Happy birthday, Orlando.
Happy birthday, Orlando.
Jen is in Beulah, Colorado, the land of milk and honey. She used to live in Colorado Springs, but she's made some really wise investments and now has no debt whatsoever. Mortgage is paid off. Who am I missing? At it's funny. My accountant is still in Colorado Springs. My assistant is in Palatka, Florida. I don't even know where that's at. Just kidding. I do know where it's at. But and then we have a couple virtual assistants in the Philippines that help us, and one guy in India. So we're all over the place. And I recommend, when you're just getting started with this, though, I always recommend start within about a 2-hour radius of where you currently live, because that was powerful. When I actually stepped foot on the land, it was so much easier to sell it than when I didn't step foot on it. Now, it's not so much. We send a land specialist realtor that we find on Redfin, like the person selling all the land in that little radius within the last 6 months. We find that realtor, not just any realtor, but the land specialist realtor. And they're just part of your team.
Okay, so that's kind of that might be confusing to people. So when I go to realtor.com, I see a bunch of houses, right? Couldn't I just pick one of those guys? Can't they just sell land for me?
I'm glad you asked that. The answer is heck no. Heck no. Unless you have a fireplace and you enjoy watching money just catch on fire, then just do that. But I've learned the hard way, unfortunately. We made a lot of mistakes. We fell fast and we fell forward. And hopefully not every day, but successful people make a lot of mistakes and they learn from them. But really wise people learn from other people's mistakes. So learn from my mistakes. We go to Redfin or Zillow. We put in land. We go to the solds, by the way. Go to the solds, and the filter, we want to put land only. And then I really want to see in the last couple months. I used to go 6 months back, but when they raised the interest rates a few months ago, I'm only going a couple months back now to about that date. So I want to see the realtor that is listing this land and bought by. If you're on Redfin, it's going to say bought by. That's the realtor, the buyer's agent, the one that's bringing the buyer. I'm going to copy and paste the listed by, copy and paste the bought by. This is in Redfin, again, land that's sold in the last few months. And I'm going to paste that right into a Word document. And if PJ Riley comes up 7 times and Brent Bowers comes up 4 times and Sue Arnold comes up once, I'm calling PJ Riley. And if he doesn't answer the phone, I'm going to call Brent, and to keep working down the line. But I want to talk to that go-getter, the one that's actually selling land.
Yeah. So you're using realtors then now as well, land specific realtors all over the country. You're not calling these. You're not physically buying the properties yourself and then going out and selling them yourself.
No, we do some of them. We kind of do, if it's in our area of Colorado where we have an established buyers list, we might not use a realtor, but why not get those extra set of eyeballs if you have a good land specialist realtor? I'll give you an example. We just bought some land in Homosassa, Florida. We sent a postcard for this one, got it under contract for $1,000. And then Chrissy my land acquisition manager, she just looked around that area of Homosassa. She went to the solds, she went to land only the last 4 months and found this amazing realtor and called her and said, hey, what can we get this for? Or what can we sell this for? Like, what's the get it done now price? She said, you'll get 18 grand for it. Okay, sounds like a deal. We're buying it. We went through a title company. I don't know who it was, Fidelity maybe. We list it. It's on the market for maybe 2 days. Already have an offer for 15,000. We countered it back at 16,000. They're pulling the trigger. We're selling it for 16,000, and the realtor did everything.
Wow. Now you're still buying land for $1,000.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And everyone's moving to Florida, so like it's still possible to find these smoking deals out there. Then.
Yeah, and then some of it we have to pay a little bit more. It's because we're sending offers every single day. Now we've kind of moved to land offer letters, and we'll go back and forth. We'll send a land offer letter, like actually a purchase agreement, where they can sign and send it back, and then we'll switch with a postcard. We kind of go back and forth, but heck yeah, we're still buying land. We got 2 free parcels of land in the last 2 months for free.
How do you get a free land? Or is it the secret?
Inherited it.
The secret.
Yeah, I mean, these one guy inherited it, and then he told his friend about us, and we sent him $6 on Venmo so he can buy a pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Got to be kidding me.
Yeah, so they're birds of a feather flock together. So it actually came from a referral. We treated the guys amazing, like with respect, and it wasn't a huge piece of land. Like we're probably going to sell it for like $5,000 or $8,000 on financing, but we'll get payments coming in for a while for it.
And for free. How many letters are you sending out every month then?
I average about 500 a week, so about 2,000 a month.
No kidding. That's I mean, I'm not gonna that sounds like that's on the low end.
It is low end.
You're a high-end land investor, and I've heard these guys nowadays. I mean, I'm doing 5,000 to 10,000, but the way you're producing, I mean, you're getting that with 2,000.
Very consistent, very specific areas. And here's the thing, I've been pumping. We primed the pump a long time ago, like one of those old-fashioned water pumps you don't see anymore. You got to pump it. All the air goes out of the line, and the water starts going. We primed that back in 2016 and have not stopped.
Wow.
So it trickles. It's just a constant trickle. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Sometimes we have to send a little bit more too, but my average is 500 a week. That's
amazing. That's so cool to hear. Because letters they can be pretty pricey, and too, if you're just kind of throwing them out there, it's like with the shotgun effect. You're not going to get the type of results you're getting. Florida and Colorado, those are the 2 places you're buying. Anywhere else?
Florida, Colorado, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Arkansas. Okay. That's about it.
Okay. And how do you get the lists then? Are you going do you have a data source or anything like that?
A what? What's that?
A data source?
Oh, data source. I thought you said dinosaur. I was like, I wish.
You have a dinosaur. I don't know. Do you? You got things that you have all kinds of great things right now. I mean, 500 letters a week and you're making all this money, and then maybe you got a dinosaur. I don't know.
We do a couple ways. We use inherit. Let me just make sure I gave the right link here. So first we start with a tax delinquent list.
Okay.
And then we obviously use PropStream. And then we use inheritedlandlist.com. It's just people that inherited land, and you can go to the county. So between the tax delinquent list, and what is that? Just for anybody that's not exactly sure what that is there's a database in every single county that someone has to be in charge of to make sure the property taxes are paid for houses and land and mobile homes and all that. And we get that whole list from either the tax collector or the county treasurer, and we scrub that list. Basically, we want to see whose names of people that are behind on their land taxes, their taxes for their land. And then we send them a letter saying, hey, we'd like to buy your land at 123 Main Street. If you're interested in an all cash fair offer, call us. And then inheritedlandlist.com is another kind of more of a specific list. These are people that inherited it. If you really want to get down to like the lowest hanging fruit is people that inherited it and out of state. That's the one we just bought for $1,000.
Okay.
And then once you really find success in that area, do a couple deals, then I say go to PropStream and pull the entire land list for that county. But here's the key to that is you want to see what parcels of land, what size parcels of land are selling the most on Redfin or Zillow. Like if 100-acre parcels are never selling, then maybe don't even pull that list. If you're just starting out, if you're like Trevor Probant out in Texas and you turn ranches to pastures, then yeah, mail the 100-acre parcels.
All right. So, I mean, all over the place. Kind of explain that process real quick. You don't have to get into it too deep, but how does that work? You get this list. Now, how does the machine work for you guys? Is it virtual assistants first, moving into somebody else? Like, how does that machine work?
Yeah, I mean, once we're kind of in an established area, we start with exactly like I said, go to Redfin, go to Zillow, see where like the hot zip codes are at, where the most land activity is happening. I want to see solds. If I'm not seeing land sold in that area, I don't want to mess with it because I don't know how to price it. I don't know how to sell it. And obviously there's no demand for it if there's nothing selling. So we figure the little pockets and we see, okay, it's selling in the 80906 zip code. All right, let's click on every single one of them. All right, half acre, half acre, half acre, half acre, 2 acres, half acre, half acre, 3 acres, half acre, half acre. Okay, obviously the half acre is what's most in demand. Let's pull the half acre list on PropStream and we'll start with that. And we also, once we clicked on all of them, I'm writing down, okay, this half acre sold for 50,000. This one sold for 35,000. This one sold for 50,000. This one sold for 35. Let's just say there's 13 of them that sold in the last 3 months. I'm going to take all 13 of them, 55, 35, 55, 35, add them all up and divide it by 13. And now I have the average price that a half acre parcel of land is selling for in the 80906 zip code. That tells me what the average price is. Now I'm going to go on my spreadsheet and I'm going to offer 50% of that. So that let's just say the average price is 25,000 for, or let's just, I like easy numbers actually, 50,000. Let's just say average price is 50,000 for a half acre in 80906 zip code. And I only want to offer 50% of that, 50 cents on the dollar. So I'm going to offer 25 grand for a half acre. And when I get someone that signs this purchase agreement and sends it back, I now have an asset under contract at 50% of the value. No one's going to be interested in that, right? Well, someone that's looking for a half acre of land that maybe wants it at 70 cents on the dollar, 50, 60, 70, like the spread is yours. So
yeah, what I guess I'm asking too is, so is this, how are you going through the purchase process? Is it always a title company? I mean, are you using mobile notaries? Like, how are you physically going through the purchase process?
Yeah, I like the title company to do it. You know, we pick up a lot of land, you know, that's, you know, for free or $1,000 here and there. But if I'm going to spend more than $5,000, that's kind of the rule of thumb. We absolutely have a title company do it. That one we bought for $1,000 in Homosassa, Florida, I had a title company just do it and take care of it. Mostly because I knew it was worth, you know, $20,000, $18,000. I didn't want any issues. And I told my team the other day, if we're worried about $1,000 taking off the bottom line out of our profit, then we probably shouldn't buy that deal. Yeah. So 99% of my deals, I am pretty much buying through a title company because I want to sleep good at night. I don't want to ever pass on a piece of property that someone pays me 30 grand for, and I got to give them a refund several years later because they can't get a title insurance policy on it and build their dream home.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I know everybody has their own rule of thumb as to when to use a title company. You know, is it 5,000? Is it 10,000? You know, everyone has their own number, but if it's lower than that, I mean, I'll send a mobile notary just to the owner's location, especially if it's certain areas, you know, are okay to do that. But yeah, if they have a chance to build on a property, I think it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm doing a owners and encumbrance. I'm doing a title search. We're calling the county, calling the city water department, making sure there's no like unrecorded liens. So it's a little bit more due diligence and research on our part. Yeah, but I don't want any title issues. If there's any breaks in the chain of title or anything weird going on, we'll still pay a title company. But yeah, we've done some self closings with the notary, but we definitely dotted the I's, crossed the T's, and checked everything.
Yeah. How many deals have you done?
I think we're sitting at about 500 deals at this point.
Deals at, just think about that, guys. 500 deals at the returns that Brent is getting right now. And you could start right now today doing that land investing. Brent, you coach people too.
Yeah. I coach people with Wholesaling Inc., the Land Sharks. It's been unbelievable seeing what other people are like. Dan Haberkost, he introduced
Good
us,
guy.
and people like Tom Robinson, just what some of these guys are doing. Chris Meeks. I mean, some of these guys have made 7 figures easy in the last 12 months. And I'm just a low key land guy. I do it for the lifestyle.
So if somebody were to come to you, what can they expect? Like when they're like, I saw this podcast, dude. I'm in. Dude, I want to do this right now. Let's start. What can they expect?
Yeah, I mean, you can check out my YouTube channel. I teach this stuff all day long. But if you are really serious about like taking this to the next level, we have a very successful program called the Land Sharks with Wholesaling Inc. If you go to the landsharks.com, you can fill out an application and schedule a call and join the community. We're building a community of other, successful land investors. And what do you expect? I've laid it out, the exact action steps that someone has to take. When I was starting in the very beginning of 2016, not that long ago, 6 years. I mean, you've been doing this longer than me, PJ. 6 years ago, I started out with no money, in debt. And here was the worst part about it. I had no time. I was working 12 to 13 hours for the military in the field, had a brand new newborn baby, a new marriage still too. I wanted to see my wife still. So I had no time, no money. So I lay out the steps that you have to take. So each day you get action steps. Once a week, we do a support call, and then we have an assistant coach answering questions as well. And my team also pitches in and answers questions. So that's just a little bit of it.
Right on. Guys, go check out Brent. Sounds really cool. Sounds awesome. And the name is really cool. Land Sharks. Dude, that's pretty intense. That's pretty awesome. All right, Brent, how can people get hold of you if they wanted to contact you? They want to contact Brent. They're like, I got to get talking to this guy.
I really try and answer all my Instagram messages. Brent L. Bowers is my handle on Instagram. And then again, YouTube. Check out the YouTube channel, Brent Bowers. I've really been putting a lot of time into that lately.
What about TikTok, Brent? Are you on TikTok?
I am, but I always forget to make videos. It's like there's so many avenues and mediums to talk to people on WhatsApp, and like I forget to check and just participate in all this stuff. But yeah, TikTok is a little dangerous. I'm very careful about going on there because I'll catch myself scrolling and like it's 5 minutes has went by and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go pick up my kid.
They're just standing outside there, lunchbox in hand. It's raining. They're looking around for dad.
Yep, it's happening.
Dad's scrolling on TikTok.
It's happened. And my wife's like, I'm never gonna have you pick them up again.
All right, Brent, leave us with something. What have we missed here?
We can listen to things and read all the books, and we have these amazing things called libraries and YouTube, university, and podcasts. When you stumble on great podcasts like LandLife, make sure you take action. Like you hear a good tip and it's inspiring you, just take action immediately. You can always pause this thing and come back to it and listen to it for references. You can do a deal from exactly what I just talked about today.
That's amazing. Yeah, Brent, you gave all kinds of little tidbits too that even I haven't heard of before, so I really appreciate it. That's awesome. All right, Brent, here's the big question. Here's the big one at the end of every podcast we ask. This is like a Mensa level question here. So, get out a notebook, a pen. You may need to work this out. There you go. Now, Brent, if you could buy land anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
The mountains of Colorado, where the pine trees whistle when the wind blows, because that is just some of the best, purest, cleanest, freshest air. We bought a camper a couple of years ago, and we go off-grid camping all over the mountains in the national parks of Colorado. So, and I buy land out there, and I'm always looking for more.
That's awesome. What a great answer. All right, Brent. All right, guys. Brent, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on and spending time out of your very, very, very busy day. Guys, until next time on LandLife.